What if the Bible already warned us what empires become? I want to begin this story, but I want to go back to Daniel, the book of Daniel, the scary book of Daniel. Not really, but he gives us a great picture. Here is Daniel in chapter 6. Now, the king here of Babylon is his cronies have put a edict out wanting the king to sign off on it. Hey, if anybody calls on any other god but you, let us throw them in the lion's den. You guys know the story from Sunday school. What is he really saying? If anybody looks for help, how would that relate today? If anybody looks for help outside of our illustrious government, let him be thrown in the lion's den. Now, that's not a lion's den. I mean, Daniel actually got thrown in a lion's den, but today you would be crucified in social media, bank accounts frozen, all of the stuff to discredit you, ruin you financially, all of that stuff. So if you say anything against government, you're going to be thrown in the lion's den. Okay, so this is Daniel against empire. So Daniel calls on his God. The people see that, and Daniel is thrown in the lion's den. And we know the miraculous story. God shows up and the lions don't kill him, and it's a picture of resurrection, but we'll get there later. But I want to build this story a little bit as we study a little bit on empire, something that we really need to see today if we can understand what's going on. Because the Bible has warned us over and over again what empires become. And what if the prophets saw something that we are still seeing today? In Daniel chapter 7, right after chapter 6, the prophet saw this terrifying vision. He sees 4 beasts rising up out of the sea, monsters, kind of the same thing we see over in the book of Revelation, creatures that rule the world. And Daniel is not just describing ancient kingdoms. I know there's a lot, the Medes, the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, and all that. That's true, but it's still relevant to this day because he's revealing what happens when nations worship power. And they stop acting human and they begin to act like, Solomon would say, natural brute beasts. But then in the story, something unexpected happens that Daniel sees. Daniel sees a human figure. And Daniel calls this human figure the Son of Man. And the kingdom is taken away from the beast and given to this human figure. Now, centuries later, Jesus steps into history and begins calling himself the same, the Son of Man. You kind of get the idea of where this story is going. Now, one of the beasts that Daniel sees, and sometimes these things just jump off the page at you, and it's especially disturbing. Daniel writes, "And behold, another beast, a second one like a bear, and he had 3 ribs in his mouth between his teeth." Daniel chapter 7, I think, verse 5. Now, I want you to get this picture in your head here. A bear, not just a little cuddly bear, but a monstrous bear. Blood on its teeth, ribs still hanging out of its mouth. The beast has already devoured its victim, right? I mean, nothing left. He's just chewing on the bones. And a voice cries out to the beast, "Arise and devour much flesh." My friends, that's the logic of empire. Consume more, take more, devour more, conquer more. Why? Because in the back of our minds, empire, it always works on the premise of not enough. There's not enough. We got to get it. We America first. We got to get it all for ourselves. I mean, we don't. There's not enough. And they keep feeding until there's nothing left, until all that's left, all that remains is bones. And my friends, I want to tell you something. History is full of bones. Broken nations, destroyed cities, forgotten peoples. We have left valleys of dry bones ourselves as this nation. And the prophets of Israel saw that devastation clearly, okay? They saw it. And I know it comes to us, this monstrous beast. Now, another prophet, he once saw, excuse me, what empires leave behind. The old prophet Ezekiel, in Ezekiel chapter 37, he sees a valley full of dry bones. Very specific there, not just dry, very dry. Bleached, dry in the sun. There's nothing left. There's no meat on the bone. There's nothing. There's no hope. These bones had been dead a long, long time. This is the aftermath of destruction. Destruction from who? From the beast that comes up out of the sea, or mankind. This is the aftermath of violence. This is the aftermath of empires, what empires do, still doing today. And God asked Ezekiel a haunting question. He says, "Son of man, can these bones live?" And I know Ezekiel didn't ask. He says, "Lord, thou knowest." But I mean, it is a question about hope. Ezekiel was afraid to answer. Can a devastated people live again? Can a broken world breathe again? Can humanity recover after the beast have devoured, my friends, everything? And the prophets, they leave us waiting for an answer. And my friends, that answer begins to appear when Jesus steps onto the stage of history. Daniel's vision says this: "I saw one like a son of man coming with the clouds of heaven." Daniel 7:13. And this kingdom is taken away from the beast. And if you go look at Daniel closely and see the interpretation, I saw one coming up. This is the ascension. And the kingdoms are taken away from the beast and given to this human figure. See, the message is clear. God's future does not belong to the beast. God's future belongs to restored humanity. This is why Jesus would say, "Behold, I make all things new." And this is why Jesus loved the title of the Son of Man. And this is why over and over again in the Gospels, Jesus uses the name. And even Paul says, "If you're in Christ, behold, you're a new creation." But the moment where its meaning explodes is during the trial of Jesus. Let's go back to that night, that faithful night after the Last Supper. The disciples are afraid. They come out to get him in the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus is arrested. He's brought before Caiaphas, the high priest. The leaders are looking for a reason to condemn him. Some of them were even paid to tell lies, and this brutality is going on. And finally, the high priest asks him the question directly: "Tell us, are you the Messiah?" And Jesus answers with words that shocked the room. He says this: "You will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven." Those words, my friend, come straight from Daniel chapter 7. Jesus is saying something explosive here. He is claiming to be the Son of Man from Daniel's vision, the one who was going to receive the kingdom. Jesus came on the scene preaching, "Behold, the kingdom of heaven is at hand." It was there, but the beast had it. And he's going to take it away from the beast, and it's going to be given to him. He's going to replace the beast. And the high priest, when Caiaphas hears this, he understands exactly what Jesus is claiming. And he reaches up and he tears his robe apart. And the trial quickly turns to a death sentence, because the beast cannot tolerate the arrival of the true humanity, the true human, what God had in mind all along. A man in his image and after his likeness. See, Rome believes it is crushing another rebel, because religion and power had made a league together. And Rome just thought, just another troublemaker. They didn't care who he was. Another voice that dared challenge the system. And what do? They nail this rebel rouser named Jesus to a cross. Put an end to it. But something unexpected happened. Guys, the cross exposes the beast. It exposes the violence. It exposes the fear. It, my friends, exposed the injustice. What looked like power was revealed as cruelty because this man was innocent. What looked like strength was revealed as fear. And 3 days later, Jesus is raised from the dead. The Son of Man lives, this one whom is going to receive the kingdom. And suddenly the question of Ezekiel comes to the forefront. This valley of dry bones, these very dry bones, this devastated world, a world who had lived in darkness and no hope at all. And God is asking us today, even as He did Ezekiel, can these bones live? My friends, the resurrection of Jesus, which we're going to celebrate here in a few weeks, answers that question with a bold yes. Because the beast do not win. The Son of Man does. And Daniel ends his vision with a promise. The kingdom will be taken, or the kingdom will be given to the saints of the Most High. Daniel chapter 7, verse 27. The kingdom will be given to the saints of the Most High, which means the revolution continues through God's people, through the church. The revolution, guys, you didn't know that we were in the middle of a revolution, did you? But the weapons of our warfare are not mighty, or are not carnal. But we are a community living like God intended, like human beings that God had it in mind. Imagine, not beast, but living like the Son of Man. Guys, this is just the first part. Stay tuned. I got a couple more episodes in this series. I'll see you there. Lord bless.